If you are looking to buy a new home, no doubt you are still scratching your head, hoping upon hope that yours can be one of the offers to finally make it across the table to closing, to get the keys to the home of your dreams, and you need an advocate in your corner to make that happen. And this morning, that advocate looks like Bruce Dodd at People's Home Equity. He's even smiling, aren't you, Bruce?
Hey, how are you doing?
There you go. There's that smile. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
So you know what I realized as I began to talk, that you might correct me on something when I'm not too proud to be corrected on TV. It's getting a little bit easier, isn't it, for people to get their offer across the closing table? It's not quite as competitive as it once was.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it's certainly the inventory numbers are up a little bit. If you look, there's less ferocity of competition. At this time last year, every house would have, offers, 10 plus offers. Some cases you'd have houses that had 25 or 30 offers. There's not one offer typically on property, which is kind of what we're all used to. It used to be you make an offer, somebody counter offers you. You see that some. Typically, it's still a little bit competitive. I mean, the definition of competition is if you have more than one person trying to do something. So it's still competitive. It's just not ridiculous like it was last year. I mean, last year it was kind of to the point where my solution to the multiple offer situation would be if you just invited all the neighbors over and you invited everybody who wanted to buy the house, and we had like a giant dance-off. That way you kind of bring the neighborhood together and you get neighbors that are enthusiastic, that sort of thing. Now I think it's getting a little bit easier.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that Bruce Dodd humor into it, because that's part of why I think people love to work with you. For one thing, you're local, so you want to make sure that you're doing things right by folks. You're going to be in line behind them at the grocery store. But you do know that the filling out forms and the looking at the fine line can get a little bit boring in a way, so you try to make it fun.
Well, here's the thing, is buying a house is a stressful thing in and of itself. It just is. You got to move, you got to select some place you're going to live for a while, costs a lot of money. The mortgage process is stressful enough, and so we try to make it as enjoyable as possible. And the thing is yes, we try to be fun to deal with. But what we try to do is make sure clients have a good experience. And part of the way we do that is we try to front load the process. So we really try to get all of your documentations out of the way early. I spent 20 years underwriting loans, managing underwriters at large companies. And so I know what underwriters are going to look for. So we try to anticipate everything possible the underwriter could ask for. And if we get all that stuff up front, then it makes the process great. Everybody has the story of somebody trying to buy a house. My gosh, they're asking me for stuff. I've been under contract for a month and we're 3 days before closing and they want something new. So with us, we try to identify all that stuff early, get you approved early, so the experience is super chill. And if you can have a chilled mortgage experience, then that's a pretty good thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this kind of a personal conversation. We'll get to business if you want to, but something else about you that people might not know is, I think, I'll make the analogy of like the duck that seems so calm on the water, but underneath the water, his feet are paddling quickly. You get on the air with us and you're calm and you're funny and you have some quick wit about you, but I know that if I miss my chance to talk to you, you're on. You have a very busy calendar, so you take the structure of your day seriously.
Yeah, part of it, we typically try to do all our client interaction on appointments. It's not because I'm Mr. Fancy Pants and you got to have an appointment to talk to me, because I ain't that fancy. It's that I want to make the experience as good for the client as possible. And so what we find is if we create this space and we've both made time for it, then we can really have great results. It's not one of those things where, hey, I don't know when I'm going to hear from my mortgage guy. And so we try to do it that way. Here's the thing with us is that if you ask the Mortgage Bankers Association, in 2021, 68%, and this is a real number, 68% of mortgages closed late. 68%. I closed on time 95.3% of the time. And so typically, if we're not closing on time, there's something oddball with the clients had something come up. We've changed jobs or we've got something weird going on. So that's the only time. So the thing is yes, we try to make the experience as enjoyable as possible, but we're serious as a heart attack about closing dates.
All right.
And, because I find the number one thing that really upsets people is if I've taken off work on Friday, I'm planning on moving in the house Saturday and Sunday, and I'm back to work on Monday. Well, it just doesn't work if that one closes late.
Well, I tell you what, I've got to close because I got to stick to a commercial break. But I'm going to let you have the last word there. But can I give them your phone number?
Sure.
Okay, it's People's Home Equity 591-9801. Chatmortgage.com. He means it. That closing date is king. They're going to get you across the table. Thank you, Bruce.
So it's a pleasure, my friend.